were just like, well, what happens if this happens? We're like, no, we're gonna find out.
We'll find out.
You know what happens? What's gonna go on with this?
It's live again.
I don't know.
We're
We'll
live
find
again.
out.
Don't know for how long.
So hi, we're trying this again. But so the show happened. It went well. The public, I think, at McGarvey's had an amazing evening.
Yes.
But that was another one of the big question marks was you, because they were like, well, when are we going to get to practice with Aislinn? And I'm like, well, she should be in like the first week or the week of the show, but it's going to be like at the beginning of the week, so we can squeeze in maybe a practice and a half. Well, I'm going to go over with some stuff. It's going to be great. Okay. Well, she's not coming until Wednesday. And it's gonna be fine. She's gonna get in late Tuesday night, and she's gonna rest Wednesday, and then like she's gonna come to the store after hours, and we're gonna work on it. Great. And then, hey, it's we're leaving Friday to pick her. What?
She had a final.
Yeah, they kept. What happened was they kept bumping her final back. So we had one actual video conference with Aislinn for the show, and it was only for the first set.
Yeah,
and not even the whole first set.
Not even
the first 5 songs of the first set.
Yeah. Yes.
And there were just so many moments where it was just like, well, what's going to happen? I don't know. And we're just gonna have to play it by ear and hope it goes well. And
I mean. So, I know this girl, and I'm a little biased, but I've seen her work before. She was literally the part of it that I was really the least. I knew she'd be fine. I really did.
Yeah, and that was one of those, like, when it came down to it, like, I literally had to stop worrying about everything.
Yeah.
There came a point where I'm like, I don't care. If it fails, if that part fails, that's because you made it fail, and I can't worry about it.
Yeah. Well, there's a saying, at least in the theater world, that if you have a good dress rehearsal, it won't be a good show.
That's why we had a good show.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm serious.
Because
we
the
really
dress rehearsal.
Yeah, the very last.
We said that too.
We did. Because the very last full practice we had,
it wasn't so great.
It was not. There was a lot of questionable moments where we were like, "Oh boy, are we really going to go do this when this happens?"
I felt good about it though because the week before we had like killed it, so I knew it was in us. I knew we had the potential to kill it, and then the week afterwards, I was like, I don't really know what happened to the band that played here last week, but yeah.
And then we got together again that Thursday night to try to iron out any trouble spots and do like a speed run of the show, so to speak. And we certain people didn't show up.
We had a few. We
no
had
shows.
We had a no show. We did.
It was like, okay, well, can't worry about that.
Can't worry about that.
But it went like that practice went really well.
It did.
And I went, oh no.
It went well.
We had the well practice right before the show.
Yeah.
That means we're not going to have a good show. And even like the day before, that Friday with the trailer situation, like I drove down to Todd Harshberger's house because I was hoping to borrow the work van, and that
didn't work.
That ended up not happening. So then I was looking at rentals and U-Hauls, and I was posting on Facebook, like, please, anybody, do you have a van we can borrow or something? And Todd messaged me, and he didn't even have to, which is the awesome thing. He's like, hey, I have an extra trailer. Like, if you want it, you can come borrow it. And I was like, dude, that is so cool. Thank you. Yeah. Have I ever driven a trailer? Nope. Was I terrified of the fact that I had to go drive a trailer? Yep.
Have you ever done a Rush tribute before?
I was actually more worried about the trailer because it wasn't mine. So drive down to Todd's house. I find his house because I missed it the first time.
Sure.
Getting the hitch out of my Blazer was an adventure in itself.
Did it involve a hammer?
It did involve a hammer. It involved wire brush. It involved WD-40. 40, a screwdriver,
Yeah, it always does.
crowbar. Yeah, there were some things that happened. So we get my hitch cover out. We get it all sprayed out and everything. Because it's down here, we got to drive down the road a little bit. Drive down, back it up, hook it up to the trailer, hook up the connectors. My connectors are so bad the trailer doesn't light up. And Todd goes, "What time tomorrow do I have to be at your house?" And I'm like, "Dude, you don't even have to do that." I'm like, "We'll figure. If I got to make 100 trips up and down the mountain, I don't care. That's what I have to do." He's like, "No, that's ridiculous." So he went out of his way. He drove up to my place, up the mountain from his house.
He's a hell of a nice guy.
Helped us load everything up. Got us down to the venue. We got everything loaded in. He was helping Steve out with sound for a little bit. And without Todd Harshberger, that show would have gone a lot rougher.
Oh yeah.
Than what it did.
Oh yeah.
But so that was Friday. 6:30 Saturday. Bing! Rush shows tonight. I gotta get up and get ready for the rush show tonight. What do I need? I think I packed everything. Did I pack everything? I gotta go out in the garage and look right now. I was a wreck. And then Todd showed up, and was like, "Okay, what?" He's like, "What all goes in the trailer?" And I'm like, "All this." And he goes, he looked at the trailer, and he goes, "All right."
Let's give the people a rundown who weren't there. Why weren't you there? But if somebody wasn't there, let's give them a little rundown of what all this actually entails.
Just of what I brought to the show.
Yeah.
All this.
Yeah.
So I had Jay's box of stuff,
right,
which consisted of a hand-built Inukshuk statue that replicated the Tesfereco album. Binoculars, which I don't think ever got used.
Check. They were there though.
They were there. They were on stage, but I don't think they ever got used.
They were there.
The Grace Under Pressure egg and vice thing.
That was there.
Which the best moment of the night was after Phil trying to tear it down. He goes, "What the hell's this?" And I'm like, "Oh, that's mine." We had my sister Amy. She gave me an early birthday present or early Christmas present. I'm sorry, and it was the Rush Funko Pops.
Right.
So they were in the box. We had that darn dragon was in the box that lived on Kevin's bass drum for the show. What else was in that box? Confetti poppers.
We had those.
Which, funny story, we were supposed to have confetti poppers go off during Far Cry. It didn't happen.
Right.
As the moment came in the song, because we had two stage techs. Tech 1, Travis, he went to pop it, and it didn't go. It didn't ignite. And actually, Dutch was a little slow on his pop, and he saw that Travis's didn't go off, so he didn't pop.
Nixed it.
So he
Pulled
dropped it.
Good on him.
So yeah, that was kind of a night. It would have been.
That was better than having half a pop.
Yeah. So that went down, but then there was other confetti cannons that we shot off at the end of the night that were supposed to be used at the full dress rehearsal practice. We wanted both the stage techs to have two practice runs of popping the confetti cannons so that they would pop in unison at the right time. And thankfully, I had the spares at the end of the night, and I said, "This is what we're gonna do. You're gonna pop these at the end of this song." And when we're all just sitting there going, pop them. And they both went off, and it was great. And God bless his heart, Dutch sat up there with my shop bag.
He did.
For like 45 minutes trying to sweep up confetti. And that was Jay's big box of stuff. And then there was the secondary box of stuff, which had my change of clothes in it, which, I had visual Easter eggs. Like, I had to make sure I had Chuck-like shoes. I had the blah, blah, blah shirt. I had a kimono that I stuck in the dryer that I totally forgot about until 2112.
Right.
And I'm like, wait a minute, I got to put this on.
I got to put my kimono on.
Then we had a full-size washer and dryer on stage. We had the backdrop. We had the big Starman logo. We had 2 Star Runner banners. We had
fire hydrant.
We had an authentic fire hydrant, which, believe me, both Todd and Dutch and everybody else who helped me pick that thing up cursed me the whole time. Like, you couldn't have got a plastic one.
I loaded it back up the next night. I was like, good Lord.
Yeah, we had a full-fledged 40-pound fire hydrant on the drum riser.
We had a light box.
We did have a light box, which was handcrafted by Josh Height, and that was cool. We didn't end up using it because it was too bright. It ended up washing out the one whole.
It literally did.
One whole side of the stage light was just gone because this thing was so bright. I was trying to replicate Alex's rig from the Clockwork Angels tour, where he had some of the spacier looking steampunk stuff, and I was in my brain. It looked really cool, but it needed to go to dim switch, and it just didn't happen.
Right.
We had those. We had Al lent us a plasma ball.
Yes.
That did make it on the stage for the show.
Yes, it did.
We had bendable skeleton for Roll the Bones.
We did it with
purple mohawk and black sunglasses.
And he danced.
He did dance. I got to use the vocal processor and do the deep, Jack, relax, be ready for snacks.
Yes.
I didn't say that because I freaking panicked. I didn't panic. I honestly don't remember any one specific thing from the show.
Do you remember the moment where you looked at me, said, "What should we do?" And I said, "There are some T-shirts out. We haven't done that yet." And you went, "Oh, I didn't put any in." And I was like, "Well, then don't do that."
Because dummy me gets through, all the prep, all the stuff, getting everything set up. I mean, and the only person who worried more than I did was Kevin.
Oh, good Lord.
And, he's back there tweaking his drums and he's getting everything set up. And I'm trying to figure out why my rig's humming again. Trying to figure out why my second vocal processor didn't work. The battery pack died, I later found out. Trying to rewire stuff and get things ready. We got to the bar, I want to say, between 12:30 and 1 o'clock. Kevin and I and Todd did. You guys didn't show up until much later. But I was in that bar from 1 o'clock until almost 3 a.m. And the whole time, even like up to the show, like it was probably 6:30 or so before it was Dutch, I think. He grabbed me. He goes, "Have you ate?"
Yeah.
And I went,
"Oh yeah,
I've been trying to get to eat." Like I had like my mom text me like, "Did you eat?"
Right.
Did you eat? I'm like, yeah, I'm getting there. I'm gonna get there because we had to wait because I wasn't leaving the bar. That was out of the question. I was not leaving the bar. And we had to wait until the kitchen opened, which I don't think was until 5. And then Dutch was like, he's like, "I got your food. Don't worry about it. What do you want?" I told him. He got me a sandwich, which I ended up halving with his brother that I couldn't even eat the whole thing. Rich McGarvey makes some fucking fantastic food.
He does, doesn't he?
And so then it was like 6:30-ish, 7 o'clock, and the show didn't start till 9. And I literally lost my mind for 2.5 hours going, is it time to go?
Is it time to
Is
go?
it time to go? Is it showtime yet? I have to do this. I can't stand here any longer. And finally, people showed up that I knew, like you guys showed up.
8:30 was very, very intense for me. From about 8:30 to 9, I was like, "Can't we just start early? Can't we just go?
Yeah, can't we just
start,
go
please?"
Now? And I think it was Travis. It was Easy T, one of our stagehands. He said, he goes, "Why don't you go out there, man, and just make the first mistake in the first 5 seconds?" He goes,
"Just go throw it."
He goes, "Just get it out of the way, and then everything will be good." God damn it!
That's good advice. Actually.
Very first song. If you got on our Facebook page and watched the live stream, I was up in the balcony of McGarvey's getting the phone set up, and I waited for the music to stop because Facebook has a weird algorithm that detects any other music playing and shut the thing down. I waited for the music to stop. The music stopped. I hit the go live button, and now I'm running downstairs from the back of the bar to get to the stage. I run up. They hand me the guitar. I put the bass on, and the intro stops. Kevin does the drum intro, and I play 3 seconds of the bass line, and the strap let go.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, and then there went the bass, and I was like, 10 seconds into the show.
Thanks, Travis.
And my first thought was, well, I know how to do this because this has happened to me before.
Right.
I instantly went flamingo and popped the bass up on my leg, and then I went, can't do that. You have to go sing.
Right.
And I went,
I'm
I
stuck
have
here.
to stop playing and physically put the thing on. And that was the first 15 seconds of the show. And even Kevin told me later, he was like, I was sitting back there and I went, he goes, is this how the show's going to go? Because I'm done right now.
Yeah.
But then everything else, of course, there were a few hiccups. There were a few blown parts. I mean, I felt so bad. Like, I called out Bobby Lee. He came down. He was one of the biggest supporters of this show from the get-go. Way in the background. He messaged me before we even announced it. He's like, you're doing something. I know what it is. You're doing some show. And I'm like, yeah, you know what I'm doing, Bobby. He's like, I'm so there. And he kept, anytime we would say, like, who wants to hear what? He kept saying, time stand still, time stand still. And I called him out at the show and I said, this is for you, Bobby. And I fucked up the vocals so bad. I felt like I wanted to crawl off the stage at that moment and just die. He was like, dude, I get it. It happened. Because, but you got out of it. You recovered. It was great. But no, there was so many cool things that happened in that show. And like I said, it was kind of funny. He told me, he goes, this thing is going to be over before you know it.
Yep.
He goes, it's going to start, you're going to blink, and it's going to be done, and you're not going to know what happened.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what happened. There are a few things, like I can sit here and actually almost recount every moment of the show, but while the show was going on, you can ask him, I forgot to give myself a set list. We've been practicing this for 6 weeks, and I have everything in front of me. All I had to do was reach up and flick the thing, and there's the next song. I would have known what it was. You were even, she was on, I look over, I'm like, oh, there's the words, fantastic. And I would keep going, and I would knew what era we were in.
Yeah.
By the bass that I kept getting handed from, because I alternated 3 different basses, or 4 different basses. And I would like, oh, okay, so I know what era we're in. And I'd go, what song are we doing? And Jason would go, I think we're doing the Force 10. I'm like, okay, great. And I would like Kevin's like, what's going on? I'm like, nothing. I can't say like, I forgot to give myself a set list. And I did, like, I blanked so bad. I was like, and then even after the first set, like, I still didn't go get one.
No. Right.
It was just one thing after another. And I mean, the outcry, the response from the show has been nothing but fantastic.
It's weird, the passage of time. I had that experience that night. I'll never forget the time that we did the Sergeant Pepper thing with Rick. I literally, I remember walking out, looking at the backdrop, and there was a big, like, it was like a big Beatles backdrop, and the lights were shining up, and you could see everybody's shadow, like every band member's shadow, and it wasn't intentional. It was just we were like all there, and we were in the shadows and the and the Beatles, and I thought that's really cool. And then I remember starting, and then I was like, oh shit, it's over. Like, I mean, just well, we did that twice, yeah. But I mean, like, same thing with the Rush thing. Like, literally, like, is it? I was like, oh my god, it's like we're gonna do 2112 now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's over.
And like I said, there were moments where things didn't go exactly as
we had some
as
technical
planned.
difficulties.
We couldn't hear ourselves at all, and I don't think it was any fault to Steve or anything.
Just the way it was.
It's just I don't think we were ready.
Yeah.
For what we had to, we weren't prepared enough to go on that stage, I don't think. And then secondly, I don't think they were prepared enough for everything that we had brought.
No.
Because we had, like, even Steve was like, so how many channels am I going to need? Like, we actually
and that was for the drum set alone.
Yeah, we actually had to bring in a second soundboard just for the drums. Like, they had a second.
How many channels have both mixers?
I think the drum kit alone had 9.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. I did more than that.
It was more than that, though.
It had to be.
I think it was like 16 for the drums.
Okay, so, and then
the regular board's 24.
So there was bass cab, guitar cab, guitar cab, acoustic amp. So there's 4 amplifiers. Keyboard 1,
2,
keyboard 2, keyboard 3, sampler 1, sampler too.
Yeah, we were running a lot to that.
Yeah, we had a
Yeah.
lot of channel. My Taurus pedals.
He
There
was
another-
keeping. He was doing some balance.
He was. He did one hell of a job for sure.
Yeah.
I think as far as the mistakes things go, I mean, like, you have to give your audience some credit. And I think I heard or saw on Facebook, your sister might have said it, but one of my favorite quotes in the audience. Somebody said, "Man, it's not like they're trying to cover Blink 182.
Right.
They're trying to cover Rush.
Yeah, right.
And it's hard, and like everybody knows that. And I think they were just
I-
ultimately there to have a good time.
I have done a number of the tribute things, and I always tell myself I'm not going to do anymore.
Right.
But I'm gonna, and I mean, I've been around the block as far as that one was hard, man.
Yeah.
Like
I mean, that was my first one. Hopefully it's not the last. I know
Oh, yeah.
it's a divided kind of crew. Like some of us want to do it again, some of us don't want to do it again.
Yeah.
Who knows?
That was definitely one of the more. I've been tasked with doing some pretty difficult crap over the years as far as some of that stuff goes, but that one wasn't easy. Like
Yeah.
it definitely required a good bit of effort compared to some of the other things I've done, and I've been asked to do some difficult stuff, and it's definitely wasn't so much technically difficult. It was like all the
Fuck
arrangements.
you.
It was all the arrangements and keeping everything
Yeah.
straight. As
Yeah.
far
There was
as,
just so much. And at that point, you had to start worrying, like, okay, when does it become just a big old ball of yarn?
I don't think it did though.
It didn't. Everything sort of became real clear for me, anyways, after, like, once I started breaking it down, like, okay, next week practice, we have to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to separate and chunk it out. And then that second set, we didn't have a whole lot of time. It was, we need to run this the whole way through, so be prepared.
But I think one of the false, I don't know what to say. What the first time we ran set 2 in your garage was like fucking magical.
Oh, it was so I couldn't even get over it.
It was like fucking magic. And then I was just like, and I knew
So-
that was going to instill a false sense of security, which it kind of did a little bit.
yeah,
And then it was good to have that other practice where set 2 didn't run as well,
right.
because that was a little bit more reality. We still didn't. Set 2 at the actual show was actually very good. It still didn't approach the magic of that garage show.
No.
Like that was like uncanny.
No, we should have. We were trying to keep everything so hush hush and so secret. Like we didn't post a lot of videos at all. Like we weren't even posting like a full video or full pictures of,
No.
of gear because we wanted everything to be a surprise to a certain extent. But it was just one whirlwind, and I'm still feeling like. And
Why'd
even,
you later, bro? Why?
and even my mom said this. She goes, be prepared. She goes, you're going to feel so run down after
Oh
this
yeah,
for
yeah.
days.
Yeah, I felt like somebody took my battery pack.
And she goes, because one, all of the anticipation, the anxiety, all the hard work you guys put into this, and then it's showtime, and now you're on one gigantic high,
It's just adrenaline.
and now it's all gone. She goes, you're gonna hurt for days.
Yeah.
And now it's it's January 7th. That was December 21st. I'm still feeling
Oh yeah.
drawback from that. Where it's even lately, I've had two full acoustic shows since then, and they've been so empty.
Yeah.
Like I'm standing there like, can I be done? Because la la, just.
Dude, you stood in front of a crowd of people and played Bytor and Snow Dog.
Which
And then
which was one of the best surprises of the evening. Oh, Kevin's back. Gotta quit talking about the show. Aislinn says to me, she
Kevin's
texts,
also completely drained from the show.
yeah, she
Yes.
she messaged me. She goes, I see that in the show on the vocal charts that you have Bytor highlighted for me. I said, yeah. She goes, did we talk about that? I said, thought we did. She goes, because I didn't think we did, and I didn't do it. And I went, So you don't think you're going to have any time between you taking your test, flying from Greece, and getting to Altoona to do the show? You're not going to have any time to do this. She's like, no. I'm like, are you sure? That could be a long flight, like, and a ride back in the back of the car. Could you? And I had said to Kevin, I'm like, she. I don't think she's gonna do Bytor. He's like, she better do Bytor. How you're not gonna be able to do it.
What?
So then we got we get to the practice, and I'm like, because I know, and I'm like, I'm not gonna say anything. So I really tried. Like, we had gone through Bytor once or twice, a few times, and I wasn't really singing.
Right.
Singing. I was just saying some certain parts, keywords to keep the balance together. A lot of phonetic singing, just blah 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 blah, blah trying to. Because let me tell you, that's one of the more difficult songs to play on bass. Yeah. And so that we had that one practice before, and I'm like, I need to really try.
I need to try now.
And it went okay.
It went well.
And it went, and
that part.
So then at the show, like, sorry, Kevin, I still didn't tell anybody. I'm like, I know I'm still gonna. And at the very last second, I looked at her and I went, "Is this me?" And she went, "Yes." And I went, okay. And I looked back at Kevin and I kept waiting because I wanted to see him start.
Committed. You're committed now.
And then I watched his arms go up, and I turned to the microphone and I waited until the last second and stepped forward real quick, to get into it. And I think it was one of the more magical moments of the evening.
It really was.
I think for me, it was the best song of the night. From just I'm not talking about my own
right.
I just mean, like, there was a minute or two in that song where I was playing, obviously, but I got outside myself and, like, just took in what was going on. And I was like, this is really
cool. I couldn't get out of my own brain to achieve that. There wasn't, the only time that I was able to step outside and think for a moment was during 2112.
See,
and it was right as we were coming up to the and I went, oh, I wonder if people are gonna go, hey. And then, like, we were right there, and then it happened, and I went, oh, cool, they did it.
Yeah.
And that was the only time that I was able to relocate and get out of my own. Like I said, like, the show happened, the first set was over, and I went, like, that went really fast. Did that go really fast? What time is it? That went really fast. Did we do that really quickly? How fast were we playing?
Look, is it 9:15? What's going on?
Kevin says he totally panicked. He says, "Sue me. I worked my ass off to that song. 4 hours and 2 drum fills and many meltdowns."
Aww.
He did. He there's no one that is ever going to say that he did not put his time in.
Dude, I will tell you, I was.
And that was part of that. There were a few moments where, like I said, I never stepped out of my own brain, but I did a few other times, and honestly, it was because there was a lot of people there that were cheering Kevin on.
Yeah.
And they were sneaking up on the sides of the stage to take pictures of him and stuff. And I would look back and be like, "That's so cool."
Yeah.
But yeah, there was a lot of things that happened that I've totally missed. That I wish. I'm glad I have the video to go back and, even though I'm looking through a chain link fence. Al actually took some awesome video of the show. We just
I can't get it off my
we just can't figure out how to get it off the camera.
It says I need to set up this. Whatever. Come on, just let me download.
But so we got way off track there.
That's cool though. We needed to purge that.
Yeah, we had to talk about it.
Patrons.
Patrons. Yeah, let's go.
We have not acknowledged.
Yeah, we have not acknowledged the patrons yet. Well, we kind of yanked them around for an hour trying to get their feet.
We were only doing it.
Working.
That was a time fill until we could get the YouTube live feedback up.
Yeah, don't look at it. Okay, one more cool moment.
Please.
And it wasn't even my moment. Hunter Carnes is front row, close to the heart.
Oh.
And he is losing his mind. He is shouting and he is singing. And Kevin was kind of watching out and playing the stuff. And we get to the part, and you could see he locked eyes with Hunter, because Hunter knew what was coming, and you could see him looking.
Yes.
You could see him looking like, how are they going to do it?
How are they going to do it?
How are they going to do it? And we get to the and Kevin looked at him, pointed his drumstick, and hit the sampler pad, and the bells went off for the big tubular bell part, and he lost his mind. He was fangirling out so bad. It was fantastic.
No one fangirls like Hunter.
I was gonna say fangirl.
Yeah. You sure? Yeah.
Nah,
I'll tell you what. That's another one that I honestly, you know what? We discussed it multiple times. I wasn't even sure about doing that song.
no, oh yeah. Should we talk about that?
We should.
We could talk about. We need to do a whole different.
But
show
that was another song that I got a little bit outside of myself and was able, like, I really.
right.
That one was really cool.
I was gonna say, for me, like singing it was you felt it.
Yeah.
There was again, the only times that I got close to being able to look around were the songs that you sang lead on, and I got to step away from it for a minute.
So yeah, we weren't going to do that song.
No, Aislinn had been.
Jay and I had a pact. Actually,
yeah, we were like, we're not going to do it right now, man. We're not going to play that.
Right.
Blood Brothers.
Right.
You know, Aislinn kept sending me video snippets and stuff. She's like, how does this sound? And I'm like, you're already a way better singer than I am in the first place, so just shush, you're fine.
Yeah.
And she, you know, she's like, I don't know, this is kind of high, but listen to it, and it's great. I'm like, oh, this is all fantastic. And then she sent me a clip of Closer to the Heart, and I'm like, yeah, well, we weren't going to do Closer to the Heart. And I hit play, and I went, oh, we're totally doing Closer to the Heart. Like a 2 weeks, not even, was it? It was a week.
Yeah.
But we had the set list was cemented, and,
Yes.
and we were like last minute scrapping songs and putting this in. And I texted Jason and I said, so your daughter just sent me a vocal clip of her singing Closer to the Heart, and he wrote back, so? And I said, dude, we're totally.
Then you sent me. It must have been like within the same time frame. Then she sent me one.
Yeah, she sends it to you,
and I just texted back something to the
I'm
effect of like,
sitting there.
so where are we putting it?
Yeah, so I'm sitting. He wrote back, so, and I'm like, dude, it's. He's like, I don't know. And it was a few hours later that it happened. I was sitting up in my daughter's room trying to get her to go to sleep, and I'm sitting there, you know, I'm in the dark, and my phone goes. And I look down at him, and he goes, Aislinn just sent me the clip. I said, yeah? And he goes, we're totally doing Closer to the Heart. So yeah, even at like at the show, like I had said,
you're invisible.
No, she's good there.
Rick Wirtz says she's invisible.
Well, she was for a while.
Okay.
Yeah.
now you're visible.
So yeah, please. I didn't hear quite what you were saying there about.
But even like it, you know, it was kind of like one of those like Kevin knew in the back of his brain the whole time that we were going to.
I know.
He's like, we're doing
From
Closer
day
to the
one,
Heart.
he was just like, "Oh, we're gonna do Closer to the Heart,"
And we're like, no, we're not.
and Jay and I are like, "We're not doing it."
We're not, because even like they quit playing it. They were tired of playing it, and I get it.
Yeah.
And I had like a panic moment because I was like, okay, oh God, Closer to the Heart. I've got a week to learn this. It's taken me a year to learn 23 songs. How am I going to learn one more Rush song in less than a week? This isn't going to happen. And I listened to it and I went, oh my God, he's like fast fingers the whole time.
That night we put in up here though, that got both of us, I think, off on it. Because I was like insane panic mode, where he was like, I don't know, dude, did you hear it? And I was like, we're not doing Close to the Heart. And then you sent it to me, and I was like, where are we going to put it in the set? And then we got together, I think it was the next day up here, and I was like, okay, we can do this.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? And, you know, and I don't even think I played the exact thing that he plays. I can say that for every song we did that. But I think there was one spot that I just couldn't figure out what the hell he was doing. But I staggered into playing the actual vocal melody
Okay.
on the bass, you know.
That always works.
I'm like, well, it gets me from that point that I don't know to this point that I do know, and that's what I'm doing.
And it works.
And it worked out fine. But it was,
Thank you guys, 'cause that was
that was one of the one of the more
It really was.
better highlights of the evening.
Yeah, it really was.
But let's get back on track here.
We have a show here.
Yeah, we do have a show. Hi.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Did you know we did a rush trip?
Yeah.
I heard it was good.
Let's toast our Patreon members here really quickly because we're already like over an hour and we haven't even like done anything.
We haven't had whiskey yet.
We've had Uzo.
We're like,
Oh,
Oh,
I'm not an Anderson fan, but I will say my throat does feel
See?
yeah.
for medicinal purposes.
Yes, but so is Scotch. And
Yeah.
bourbon and
so
Better bone.
Better
Bourbon.
Better
French
bone.
bourbon.
Buchanan.
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 So let's raise a glass. Let's toast our Patreon members right now. We have Rick Wirtz.
Got him.
We've got Ryan Weaver.
Got him.
We've got Scott Knoll.
Got him.
We've got Tim High.
Got that guy.
We've got Jeremy Nixon.
Got him.
We've got the lovely Shannon Hoffman.
As always.
And I'm pretty sure that's it.
Except now we have a new patron.
We do have a new patron
who
member
needs to be toasted pretty hard.
who needs to be toasted. So let's raise and clink these glasses together for you, our Patreon members. Thank you very much for all you do for us. We greatly appreciate it, especially when we go on for a 45-minute rant about a Rush show that you really don't care about.
Wait a minute. It's not as if we've never gone on a 45-minute rant about Rush on this show before.
That's also true.
Kevin Siegel says he's never wrong. Mark that shit down in the show notes. Here's Kevin, never being wrong.
To Kevin. Tin Cup. It's back. What do you think of Tin Cup?
Actually, it's kind of thin.
After all that Uzo,
Yeah, that's what I think it is.
I almost brought the Jeffersons. Like I got a bottle of
That
Jeffersons.
would be appropriate.
And I thought, like, well, it's the first show of the third season, and the second show of the first season, and the first bottle of the first episode. Jeffersons.
We did.
But I went,
Yeah, but Tin Cup's better.
yeah. So I brought the tin cup instead. Well, we do want to thank the newest Patreon member, which for those of you who do not know, it was kind of kept a little under the radar, a little hush hush for a while on the show. I don't even know if it was ever divulged on the show. I think Mikey said it in a text message that he planned on it closer to the time, but then life happened.
Yeah.
So things happened. For those of you who do not know, Michael Cavino and the lovely Shannon Hoffman have procreated.
Good gods, they've procreated.
They have made a beautiful baby boy.
Sure has.
One, Nathan Brian Cavino. Yes. Beautiful boy. Every time he shows a picture, I'm like, already.
I know, dude.
He sent the picture in the group chat today, and he's not wearing his hat. You know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, there's the ball of the baby. There's the ball of the Mikey. I'm like, they're so cute. I want to rub their heads.
I want to squeeze your cheeks.
But everything turned out fine. They are home. They are resting and recuperating and enjoying.
This is why Mike is not with us this evening.
Yes, that is why he is not here. He is enjoying some private moments alone with his brand new baby boy. His first baby boy.
His only.
True. Baby period. Yeah. But I've always thought, like, because I've grown up. Well, I haven't grown up with Michael. Like, I didn't go to school or anything. But
You didn't grow up, period.
Good point, Al.
I mean, I've been around the boy enough.
Yeah.
That when I started here in 05 at the Emporium in 05, he was here. I think he started in 04.
Okay.
And then he did a few jaunts off to college and came back, and then he left California.
Did a few Patreon only stories.
He did. Spent some time in Greece. Or out in Italy, sorry.
Rome.
Rome. And so I've known him a long time. I played hockey with him. And if you ever want to see a little angry Italian boy, you put Mike Cavino on skates and send him against somebody bigger. I've never seen a bigger pit bull.
Yeah.
Little cute, adorable Mike Cavino gets on skates. He's like, I will rip your throat out. And I'm like, do it. But no, so he's that's where they are. I kicked the Viper droid again.
We're sending it back to Hoth soon, anyways. No big deal.
Yeah. But that is where Mike is. So we wanted to send a shout out to those guys.
Yeah. Toast to them and their family.
Toast to them.
The best wishes.
To Shannon,
many blessings.
Michael, and Nathan. And as soon as I said, "What do you name him?" And he said, "Nathan." I said, "Of course you are."
Of course you are.
I said, "I absolutely knew you were." There was no doubt about it. I joked with him when he. I forget when that was. Was it? No, it wasn't Thanksgiving. I forget when he. It was a holiday. I think it was a holiday. He sent out the text message. He said, "So guys, guess what?" And I said, "So, is Shannon okay with you naming the baby Lagavulin?"
Right.
You know, and he said, "No, we've already got the name picked out." And I was like, "What's that?" And he said, "Nathan." I said, "Of course it, of course." I absolutely, there was no surprise. And what a perfect
Absolutely.
name. But yeah, so they are at home. They are resting. They're recouping. Mikey
They're in
really
good
wanted.
health.
I think, yep, everything turned out very, very well. So yay for those guys, and yay for the adventure that Mikey is now on.
I have a little bit of parental experience. Yeah.
I've got a little bit.
I can tell you this though, knowing Mike Cavino and the lovely Shannon as much as I know her, I do think they are going to be fantastic and wonderful.
Absolutely. And I just it
That's
tickles
a very
it
lucky
tickles me to
little
no
boy.
end. I'm not gonna try to soil anything by bringing up past relationships or whatever, but when his whole like when we first started the
You mean
show,
the reason it just started?
Mikey was in a very dark, unhappy place, and we don't blame him. But like even like from the first time when he was talking to me, like they were dating and everything, there was something I was just like, okay, I whatever. I don't know her,
Yeah.
and no vibage at all. And then like I meet Shannon once
You're
in Mike's when Mike first moved into
yeah.
now, which it's not even his house anymore.
Right.
We were sitting around the kitchen table. This was before Al was full into the show. She was there one night. She knew we were like, "Come on, be on the show," and she's like, "No."
No.
She hid in the living room the whole time. But I mean, just right then, I'm like, "She's all right."
She's okay.
And sure as shit, she is.
She's good
So,
stuff. Yeah.
That's really cool. So congratulations one more time,
One
guys.
more time.
We will raise a toast to you.
And I will also say before we get off of the patron congratulatory list, I have a special message here that from the eternally lovely Stevina High.
Oh.
And she wishes, and I would like to extend my own. I would like to wish Tim High and Stevina a belated 20th wedding anniversary.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's raise them back
They're
up.
also another wonderful couple that, once you meet them and you're just like, you two, yeah, you're all right.
You're okay.
You're okay. Yeah. So, Tim, that was initially from her, but now it's from all of us. Happy anniversary. All right, I'm checking them off.
Okay, so
patrons, newest patron member, Ricky.
I got Russia.
I got.
Mine's out of order. Hi, Aislinn. We can check off. Hi, Aislinn. So I don't even know when that was. 2 nights ago, 3 nights ago.
I think it was Sunday.
Sunday was it? So the Golden Globes happened. First of all, let me just preface by saying that. So that happened. And I didn't watch the actual show because I don't care.
Lord, have you ever watched one ever?
No.
By accident.
Right.
So not even by accident, not once. But there was, of course, the next day, all over social media, the internet blew up with Ricky Gervais's opening monologue for the performance.
Yeah, it didn't stop the monologue. I didn't watch the show.
No, but apparently it continued.
He continued to throw zingers all night
long. So maybe if I can find a whole episode, I might watch the whole thing if I can find it.
I would like to just see a condensed version
of just him. Yeah. But actually, he lit people up for don't know how long that monologue was, 5 to 7
He
minutes.
lit Hollywood hypocrisy
8
on
minutes.
fire.
8 minutes. Yeah, and he even announced, he's like, "This will be my last time hosting the
He
show."
did.
And I think when I reposted the video on Facebook, and I said, I have seen a man become a god. And I understand there's a lot of hate that goes along with Ricky Gervais' stand up, his actual routine and stuff.
Yeah,
A lot of people don't
I'm
like
one
it.
of them.
I don't
I do
even
not
know
care
enough
as-
about it,
Yeah,
but I'm only going off that 8 minutes. You know?
Yeah. So
that was a fun 8 minutes.
yeah, that was the amount of people that he made uncomfortable in that 8 minutes was glorious.
I think Tom Hanks.
Except for
himself.
yes. Poor
He
Tom.
really had some looks of.
I mean, his last movie. Well, actually, I don't know when they finished up with the Mr. Rogers movie. But some of that, I mean, he was in that character for so long, and then to have to sit there, it almost looked like Mr. Rogers cringing sometimes.
But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up, and if you haven't seen it, please do yourself a
watch it.
favor
And think about it.
and watch the opening
think about it.
monologue.
Well, I mean, the greatest point of salient comedy, or the fact there is that it wouldn't be funny if there wasn't some substance to what
Oh,
he
yeah.
had to say.
Right.
Yeah,
Oh,
right,
it's,
right.
yeah, a little bit more.
Those
than a little
people
bit.
were uncomfortable for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love the people that just sat there and laughed.
And who hasn't sat there and thought the same thing? Like, I know many times I'll hear some edict issued from some Hollywood, elite superstar or something, and I often think, like, who are you to, you know what I
Right.
mean? He called it out. He was
Yeah.
like, I don't know how much room you people have.
Basically, all these it surmised down to his last little thing there. It's like, if you win an award, come up here, accept your award,
Thank your agent.
thank your agent, thank whatever god you want, and then just get the fuck off.
Yeah.
Like, nobody cares about your political form. This isn't, just be
Yeah.
done.
Yeah.
And it was just like, wow.
Thank you
Thank-
for saying that.
Thank you, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah.
Ricky does have a history of hateful comedy, but his monologue was on spot.
Who
Yeah.
said that?
No, Tim Hunt.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Yeah, I can't see that for me.
Yeah,
Um,
I agree with him.
I don't know anything about. I mean, I've watched the British version of The Office and whatever, but I don't know anything about his stand-up. I can't say I've ever.
yeah, I mean, I love the American version of The Office. I've seen it. The whole
It's
way through
fantastic.
2 or 3 times. I tried to watch the original version and I just couldn't. Like,
Really?
no, I couldn't get it. I tried to watch. I suffered through about 5 or 6 episodes, and I'm like, I
Pretty
can't
dry.
do it.
It's a lot drier.
I mean, and I usually typically love like British comedy and
Yeah.
things like that. Like, one of my
Dude, you
favorite.
got close.
I'm pretty sure. But the thing is he knows where everything is in that.
I do.
He's like, where am I at right now? Okay, hold on.
I do actually.
And then he stops right on the page you want.
It's very true.
He but like, I'm pretty sure it was a British comedy. The Are You Being Served? That was
Love that shit.
Yeah.
That's actually my favorite one.
Yeah, I used to watch that. I would stay up late just to watch the reruns of that. Like, I really don't even remember what channel they used to air on.
Oh, I have no idea.
But yeah, that was just fantastic. Like, watching that, I howled.
That's my absolute favorite.
And a lot of that was like super dry comedy. So like, that was like extremely funny to me. But then I try to watch that, and I'm like,
Try the app.
okay.
It's
That's
good.
Gervais, right?
Yeah, it's his series on Netflix, and it's good. It's a little less.
We all right. That's it. I'm done.
Goodbye.
No, we need to make a little shout out to.
Yes. So I do believe on the last episode, that we gave a shout out to a friend of ours, who I don't even think we named him in that episode, to be perfectly honest. But he was having some health issues, and he ended up he did pass away. I don't even remember when it was right now, but it was. I hate to use this context, but it was before the Rush show, because the last conversation I had with him was he apologized to me for not being able to make it. Because he knew he was going to die, and he was like, "I'm sorry, I can't come to your Rush show because I'm not going to be here." And I'm like, "Dude, like, why are you?" But that's the kind of guy that he was, like, and so he was like, "Hey, whenever you get to like Power Windows and or moving pictures and permanent waves," he's like, "Think of me." And I said, "Dude, this whole show's for you." And he was like, "Wow, dude, I'm like really floored over here. Thank you so much." And then I didn't talk to him for the rest of that night. And then the next message I sent him like, "Hey, brother, how you feeling?" And I never got a response back. It's November 22nd. So it was a whole month before. And it rocked us really hard here at the store. Some more than others. But yeah, it's really an odd. This comes with a grain of salt. Like, it was a really odd place with David here, and now it's even
Thank God.
it's even worse without him.
Oh, it was a great place.
Which, oddly enough, speaking of David, I kind of had it was all kind of like thrown back in my face this morning, unexpectedly. I placed a boot order, and one girl, she goes, "Hey, how's David?" And I went, "Oh," you know. And I had to tell Amy from Abilene. I was like, "Yeah, this is kind of what happened." She was like, "Oh, I'm so sorry." I'm like, "Yeah, I can talk about it now, but even like the show when I basically said almost the exact same thing verbatim that I said right now." And I broke up for a second, but I was able to rein it back in because I'm like, I can't move forward if I'm in that position. I had to kind of shove it down and shove it away. But yeah, so he'd always ask about the show. Always would ask like, "Well, what did you drink this week?" And,
oh yeah,
you know, just totally. I mean, I don't even know if he ever actually tuned in or whatever, but he was always like super supportive of it and always asked questions like, "Well, what'd you guys talk about?" You know, he wanted to be involved with it. I just don't know that he knew how to find it.
No,
as silly
because
as silly
there would
as
have
it
been.
is.
I think if he could have gotten directly to it, that would have been one thing. But there was a whole bunch of like technology in between.
Yeah, he and
That, and yeah.
But so let's
Let's
we'll
raise
a glass right now to our friend David. May he have found whatever he was looking for.
He was an eternal searcher. Well, yeah. I think Aislinn should tell us about her trip to the Brewers Distillery.
I think you're right, because Kevin Siegel says we need to hear more conversation from Miss Feathers.
Sorry, there was a lot of it.
Actually,
during the technical difficulties.
Yeah, the first half hour was pretty much.
She just wouldn't shut up.
Yeah,
We were like,
no.
"Good God!"
We were killing the feed. That's what was going on.
Right.
Yeah. So that was.
Tell us about your
I
trip
went
to
the
Scotland.
distillery in Albertville.
You got to say Aberfeldy.
You have to say it that way.
As the feed peaked right there, and as Jeremy Nixon says, anytime he gets loud, he's gonna pull his earbud out real fast.
It was gorgeous. I mean, all of Scotland was gorgeous. But J.K. Rowling actually has a house on the property, so I got to see that. It was pretty cool.
Does she have Harry Potter things, in her house?
No, her house isn't a castle. I was hoping. No.
Was Dumbledore there?
Yeah,
No, I kept asking.
Yeah.
It was gorgeous. It was really interesting to see everything. I'm not well versed in it. I'm gonna try and botch it up. But so I first got taken to the big metal.
Oh, the first hop, where they basically brew beer.
The pot.
Yes, the pot.
The pot
Right,
still.
for lack of a better term.
The copper pot still.
Yeah. And
Do they use? I'm sure they use copper.
They use copper. Yeah. And then we got to like look in and smell it.
What you're smelling is the head.
Well,
Yeah.
it was Dewar's. I mean,
Well, they make some good stuff, don't they? Okay, it's okay. Never mind.
You have to let me know when that.
I've only ever had white label. Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Actually, as a young man, I drank a lot of Dewar's
in
before I knew any better.
Alberfeldy, only places that make white label because it has something to do with the river that runs through it. You need the water from that river.
You might want to sit forward and speak up.
Hello?
That one
I
too.
don't know.
I don't know.
I don't know where you want me. You want me over here? You want
We need to see you and hear you.
And then I got taken to the filtration center. I remember. And then I got taken to the casks. Casks. They use oak. I remember that.
Chart. Now, let me ask if they mentioned this because, I mean, they may or may not have.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of Scotch distillers will actually buy once used American bourbon casks. Did they happen to mention whether they?
No.
They didn't mention it.
Well, actually,
Just-
I don't think they did.
You don't think they did?
Mm-mm, no. They use oak and it's
Double
aged.
chart. Oh, double aged.
Double aged.
Yeah.
Double aged.
So they put it into a second barrel.
Yeah.
They put in the second
Okay.
barrel.
And what else? Ed Sheeran was there.
Ed Sheeran
Yeah.
was there.
Well, not when I
Ooh.
was there. But,
Oh.
but his signature was on one of the casks. Rowling was. I guess it's her favorite.
She likes Scotch.
She likes
yeah.
Scotch.
And what else? They
Scotch.
pride themselves on being one of the only distilleries that has a female brewer.
The women of whiskey.
Yeah,
They are very.
Did you bring
few and
that
far
up,
between.
Jay? I bet you did. You just don't remember. You probably brought it up when you did the women of whiskey.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't even tell you. At this point, that was so long ago.
That
I've
was
had
long.
a bunch of ouzo.
I know. It's still in the back of my throat. It's
I want to say a bunch of mouthwash,
Yeah.
but
No.
Yeah. I had some pizzelles.
I wanted to ask you. Sorry to jump around back on topic. How much was that bottle? If you don't mind me asking.
No, I don't. If I
And
can
because
remember.
it got cut off
Hold
earlier,
on.
here's the bottle of ouzo
Oh,
that we're
oh
talking
no,
about.
I got scratched off.
Greek, brought in
Roughly.
straight from Greece.
In American dollars.
Okay.
Well, tell them what it is.
In euro, I'd say it was probably about.
Okay, so it's like 1.3
I don't know what
American
the
to
current
euro.
conversion
Yeah.
is.
So.
It's like 1.3. Because I was looking online for magazines.
Okay.
And they had to have.
Yeah.
You were looking to buy some ouzo, weren't you?
Well, actually,
Did you throw
no.
it?
my Thompson submachine gun.
Okay. When she bought it, it was probably about 1.3. It's down actually
Yeah.
down a little bit now.
Ooh.
So that's the euro's taking a little bit of a downturn there in the end of December. It's coming back up now. We can talk about that on our next episode.
Yes. The financials.
Right. So at the end, so they took you through all that. I'm guessing at the end, they probably sat you down and gave you some doers.
Yeah. So we tasted 12 page 18, I believe. And
I can't say I've
then,
ever had a doers 18. I would like to check that
It
out.
was
Actually,
good.
I bet it was good.
And that was a single malt, and then they also did
The blend.
the blends. Yeah.
Oh well, then I definitely have never had. The only doers I've ever had has been blends. So,
I liked the single malt a lot. I have to be honest with
well, you're my kid.
you.
You know, and
Yeah.
I'll share an unpopular opinion.
Unpopular.
Did you hear me try to pull this one?
Unpopular.
Unpopular.
Sig Sauer.
They've got hot shingles. Usually when I play up in Blue Knot,
The places that don't have good whiskey.
the places that do, yeah,
You drink doers.
they don't have a lot of Scotch offerings up there. But they do have doers. They do have. I think they have Johnny Black. They might even have Johnny Red. But I'm pretty sure that's it.
Yeah.
I
I think given that choice, I'd probably.
it,
I
it
like Johnny Red.
Yeah.
But it probably most whiskey I've had at that particular place has been Dewar's.
Yeah.
And it kind of I hate to use the thing like, well, if you do something long enough, you end up just coming to like it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
That's kind of how I am with Dewar's. Like, is it nasty? Yeah, sure. But I've drank it enough times where it's like
I know it
I
won't kill me.
accept this level of nasty. You know.
I know where you're coming from.
Now, if they had tin cup on tap,
Yeah.
He has another offer.
I keep getting
You keep getting gigs.
well. Oddly enough, it's kind of funny. A friend of mine, actually, it's a friend of Amy's, messaged me and she goes, "Hey, what do you charge for a gig?" And I said, I told her, and I said, "Why?" And she's like, "Well, I'm trying to get, for my wedding." And I'm like, "Oh wow, like I'm totally honored you want me to come play at your wedding." I'm like, "But have you seen me?" But then I'm like, she told me the date, and I'm like, "Oh my god, that's my birthday."
Aw.
She goes, "Uh oh." I said, "I'd behave." But I have no idea.
I'll tell a patron story one time about the one wedding I did, but I'm not going to do it now because you got to pay for that one.
Oh, I know that story.
Yeah,
That's a good story. That's worth paying.
that is worth.
Not as good as Mikey's.
Nope.
Did he ever divulge that?
Nope.
The UK story in Italy.
Yeah.
No,
UK story in Italy.
I'm not sure. I
No, it's-
understand.
yeah. He told me that story because
But did he do it on the air?
no,
No.
no.
Yeah.
Never on the
Yeah,
air.
you
No.
got to pay for that.
I couldn't
too.
believe he told me that story.
That's a fantastic.
That
story.
is a
wow. That's a $50.
That's a
Yeah.
50,
yeah.
We're upping rates for that.
For sure. Any news over there?
No.
Nope. Okay. I don't think anything else.
Nothing we can talk about sans Mikey.
Right.
You can't talk about the movies.
Yeah.
A lot of good movies. Some okay movies.
There's a lot of movies out there right now.
There's
some
some-
good, some bad. Yeah.
Some. Is he cats?
I was just gonna say, no one's seen that.
No.
Did see the Joker. Excited to talk about that finally. I downloaded or I purchased yesterday or yesterday or 2 days ago. I remember Voodoo. I finally got John Wick 3.
Oh,
So I can finally get out of the dark.
Oh, okay.
I've never seen a John Wick movie.
I think you should start.
Go
with
ahead.
one.
Yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
I mean, we're not going to talk movies without the.
I have them
cinephile
if you
here,
want to
but,
borrow.
I would actually.
Yeah, really, very entertaining.
I've
Yes.
been told so many times. Yeah. Like you haven't seen it, and I'm like, no.
And I don't want to ruin it. I mean, I can't ruin it for you, but by telling you this, my favorite part of the whole first movie is he gets invaded. He whacks like 12, 13 guys in his house, and he just finishes taking out the last dude, and the doorbell rings, and he looks up and he sees the silhouette of a police officer and the sirens, or the lights are going outside. Yeah. He walks up to the door, puts the gun behind his back, opens up the door, and cop leans in and goes, "Evening, John." He goes, "Jimmy, noise complaint?" He goes, "Yeah, noise complaint." And he kind of looks back and sees the dead body in the hallway, and he goes, "You working again?" And he goes, "Just working through something." He goes, "All right then. You have a good night."
That's all.
"Thanks, Jimmy." And he closes the door, and you're just like, it was just great. Like the first time I saw it, I was just like, what just happened?
What's that backstory?
Yeah, and they never do explain it.
That's good.
Well, we have to have John Wick 4. So.
Yeah. So
on the queue, I think we need to invest some time in watching some Witcher because we got to discuss.
yes,
that.
that is high on my agenda list. Like I'm trying to just personally for myself, I'm trying to get through Letterkenny because I just got to get caught up. But that's on my high to do list. I heard reports today. I know she hates it.
I don't think she hates it.
She doesn't get it.
I don't get it.
The other thing, have you ever played hockey? Then you don't get it.
Oh yeah,
Because I've had to explain like those two are so annoying. I'm like, you've never been in a hockey locker room then, because they are exaggerating, but not that much. Like that is legit. all the time conversation. Everything always ends in a Y. Come on there, boys. What are we doing? Are we shooting some Jonesies? Or some wheelies, and everything has a Y at the end of it. Yeah, dude, let's do some burpees. And they're always bumping fists or whatever. Like, yeah, that's a for sure. That happens. I played hockey with a kid who he grew up in the rink, and they all talk like that. It's so funny. Like I said, that show is extremely funny to me because while I never myself was a redneck-ish, I mean, of course, I grew up in Wooded, Pennsylvania, but
yeah, but you don't give off too many rednecky vibes.
I hung out with rednecks.
Sure, you did.
So I know those guys.
Yeah, sure.
I know the D-gens.
Right.
I know the skids. I've hung out with. I've been on all. So for me, I'm like laughing and remembering people that I went to school with, going like, I totally know why this is funny. But yeah, so that's why. But absolutely, like I found out today that a lot of the new Witcher series on Netflix is based off of the books.
Yes,
and not so much video games, which prompted me. I went to Barnes and Noble this morning on my lunch break to go get a new yearly planner for all my gigs and stuff, and I walked over to find it, and they had books 3 and 4, but not 1 and 2, and I'm like, well,
somebody else had the same idea you did just a little earlier.
Yep. So yeah, I was gonna try to sit down and start power reading through that stuff, but yeah, we'll get there. Anything else?
In the meantime, I'm gonna imagine watching the series.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not gonna kill anything. There's not a whole lot that you really have to know, I don't think, going into it originally. So I'm pretty pumped about that. I'm gonna start watching The Witcher hopefully within the next week or so. No.
I don't.
You're always good for a couple of useless facts.
Useless facts. Well, we.
I say that in the most loving way possible.
No,
I'll tell you that. We were. I forget what day it was. We were driving up
Thursday.
Driving up to your place, so maybe it was Friday. It was last Sunday. Maybe. Driving up to your house and sitting there, and Autumn. Almost said Amy. Autumn says something from the back seat, and we explained it once, and then she asked the question again, and we explained it a different way. Tried it a third time, and I said, "Hannah, why don't you ask Pappy how that works?" And she goes, "Why?" I said, "Because Pappy really likes explaining how things work." And she goes, "Okay, I'll do that." And of course, by the time we hit the house, because I was in the car, she totally forgot. Yeah, I totally was going to throw you on the bus. I'm like, here, you need to talk to my child for the next 3 hours and explain. Because the inside backstory is, you want the easy answer. You want the fast answer. You want when someone says, "Hey, how do you do this?"
Right.
You want the answer. You don't want the explanation. You want the answer. And this man
He'll give you the explanation.
used to torment me. Everybody.
Torment.
Education is now torment.
And then I added the preface. Do you really want to know?
Yeah. Then he started to ask.
Yeah. Do you really want to know?
Hey, Al, can we make?
I'll tell you.
Because then, how do we do this thing? And he'll go, "Do you really want to know how that works?" And I go,
Yeah.
"You know what? No."
Yeah.
And I turn around and walk away because I'm like, I'll just figure it out somehow, or I'm not.
Right.
Yeah, so that's kind of one of
The only thing I had going on, I can't remember if I brought this up. I can't remember the last time we did a podcast.
November.
But
20th.
we got to tour the Evansburg.
Oh, yeah, you
prison.
did.
Oh yeah, you did do that. Yeah.
Yeah, it was my next door neighbor is Darcy Rigal, and he was the gentleman that what is the name of?
We gotta get him to take us in there just by ourselves.
Well, he had to return the key. I mean, they gave him the key for the Evansburg Ice Festival. Can't think of the name of that either. Dickens of a Christmas. Thank you. And he said he thinks about 4,000 people went through that. They had 5 people running as many as groups of 15, 20 through. And that was just all day long.
I want to do our own ghost hunt there.
But
Episode.
Yeah, episode. Now
Spook show.
I took in a digital recorder, just a voice recorder, a GoPro, the camera and the ball that was on your. That was. Oh, wait. We haven't watched Witcher yet. Well, some of us have. Some of us haven't. Tim High said, "I can't believe you haven't watched Witcher yet."
We're getting there, buddy.
One thing at a time. He still hasn't seen Star Wars yet. I mean, come on, Tim.
Hey, remember how long we waited for the Last
I
Jedi?
do.
So
Yeah,
we're gonna have to
yeah.
wait.
Yeah. So I took the ball in to use it as a device to try to energize the area.
Yeah.
So actually, before the last place it was at, what's that?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last place it was at was actually in the prison.
And that's what happened.
Yeah, before it was on your.
It worked for our show,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that's all. You know, we had a rush show.
What? You know, you ought to tell us about that.
That's pretty crazy.
But I screwed up the recorder. I had the gain down. I didn't.
Did you screw it up,
I screwed the
or
recorder.
did something spooky?
The
happen?
GoPro. I was switching between the GoPro and the camera. The GoPro. I had it fully charged. It was working.
Battery drain.
No, it got stuck in this loop. It would turn on and shut off. Turn on and shut off.
Did you try it after?
Well, I actually had to pull the battery out to stop it.
Okay.
But then
Like,
I restarted
does it
it.
work fine now?
No, well, yeah, it's working fine now. But all the videos been lost.
Wow.
Spooky.
The only thing I have left is from the camera. But as far as anything that we heard, anything we saw, it was a dead place as far as
I did a ghost hunt
We're
at
all
Baker
walkers.
Mansion one
Ew, she said.
A few very strange things happened at that. But, I've never done the prison up there.
Yeah. Well, definitely got to do that when it's warm
Yeah.
because that building is nothing. Yes, it is.
And I think
I did do Eastern State Penn.
too, if it's hot and gross in there, that'll
Well,
get maybe get some energy rolling. I'm an antagonizer. I get off on that.
You like a hot and gross.
yeah, I think he does.
Well, I think it was the first year that you were working here at the store that we had the Christmas party at the
yeah.
U.S. Hotel. And I don't know if there was a problem with the food coming out in a timely manner, and they were just trying to appease us, keep us occupied. They came out and they're like, "Does anybody want to go on the ghost tour?" And we were like, "Duh!"
Yeah.
And there was some people just like, "No, I'm not getting out of this chair." And I know, like Jason and I were the first ones. We're like, "Well, I'm gonna head out." And we did. Like, we were up there too, and they're like, "Yeah, so this is where some activity happened." Started doing my very best Zach bagging. Like, "What's up, you sissies?"
Yeah.
Everyone's like, "Dude, don't do that." I'm like, "What? They're not gonna do anything to me because you're not real." The whole time.
They can't do anything to me. They're not real.
Then all of a sudden, like I'm the dick in the back of the room going, "Shh, shh." And everyone's just like, "You're not funny." I'm like, "Yeah,
I'm kind of funny right now.
But yeah, that's totally. If we can get in there, like I'd take everything in. We could do a live show, like.
We have enough problems here in house with the Wi-Fi. We can do a live show from there.
We could.
I'm not saying the
We
technology.
could make it happen, Al.
We don't have.
We could do it Blair Witch style, and all.
Oh, okay. So
and
we all just sit there and
have all the phones on.
Oh, no, that would,
on
okay.
selfie sticks.
Okay.
Sure.
And just live stream 4 different views. People are gonna have to pull up different windows to watch all of
that
their
would
feed.
be cool. That would
I
be
love
cool.
it.
Yeah.
Get the snot.
No, see,
Who's going
Blair
downstairs
Witch
into the
snot.
basement?
see if you can hear this now.
Yeah.
What happens is I think I have an allergy to alcohol.
You've said that before.
I've read.
Really?
I was like, why
Yeah.
is it that every time I drink, I get a stuffy nose? You can hear it now.
Yeah.
And I haven't drank a whole lot. We haven't even gotten into a second pour of
Yeah.
Tin Cup. I had 2 sips of Ouzo, and I've had this one little snort here that I'm still working on.
Are there sulfur?
Yeah, I'm sure
A
there
lot
are.
of people are.
Not whiskey usually.
Yeah, I know that's the thing with wine.
Yes, wine.
But-
They have to kill the yeast.
So yeah, anytime this happens, listen to the start of an episode. At the end of it, I'm usually doing
Beginning, it's an episode. At the end,
Episode.
It's an episode.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. So yeah, that's the thing that happens. But yeah, I would totally want to go in there do an episode.
You can go in the basement.
I've been in that basement before. I've been in the jail cell. I've been in the dungeon.
I'll go in the basement.
When I was in there, when I was a prison guard, they took us through. They gave us a tour of that.
Oh,
jail.
really?
Yeah. And that was the first thing, Darcy took us down into like the dirt floor.
Yeah, yeah.
In the dungeon where like there was literally still chains on the wall. I was like, this is so cool.
It was. I thought it was cool.
I think it.
Do you know the story of the jail up there?
Well, the biggest thing
really,
about Canberra County, they're noted for Bill Smith.
Yeah, Bill
Smitty.
Smith. They call him Smitty. He was supposed to be hung in the outside in the gallows.
Okay.
The next day, they had a holding pen basically.
Well, it's a little bit heavier than a pen. The one holding cell, it's 6-inch concrete and then rebarred.
Rebar, and this is just within the jail. Like,
right.
When it's your time to
rest
go,
of them are jail cells.
they take you.
That's where they put you.
That's where they
if
put
you're on
you
death
the
row.
night before, before they take you out. So whatever. Well, they put Smitty in there, and then they went to go get him the next morning.
There's a note on the bed. It's basically was laughing at the ward and say, "Ha ha, I'll see you in the next life." He got out. Thing is, well, the person that Smitty killed in Johnstown, the reason he was in the prison, was supposed to be, I think, a child of somebody who was well-to-do in Johnstown. Of course, back in those days, you had Bethlehem, you had steel mills, so there was lots of money. The second thing is, Smitty has a peg leg, and he's the only person that ever broke out of Canberra County prison.
Wow.
On death row, which was the heaviest cell.
Right.
And it's not on the ground floor.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that one is.
Was it?
Yes.
I thought it was up top.
No, they have no. The original part of the prison, the ground floor was the men's, the second floor was the women's. And then you had the I don't want to go in a dirt basement dungeon.
Yeah.
But yeah, they then they built the secondary part that has 4 tiers.
Yeah.
The bull pit, I think they called it. But yeah, he was peg leg, and
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and he escaped.
But they don't know whether it was if he actually escaped. They don't know if
Somebody let him out.
if
somebody
well, obviously
chopped him up and took him out.
But yeah, they don't.
Yeah.
But the whole Ghost Hunter show with Zach Baggins and all that, they had some other guys on that show that have since left the show and have started their own secondary show.
Okay.
And they actually went in to do a full lockdown of the prison.
They were in there 4 days. 4 days or 3 days?
3 days, I think.
Okay. But yeah, they stayed in prison the whole time.
Oh wow.
And they actually, got, if you buy into it or whatever, they got recordings of, like, they're sitting there and they could hear like the clunking of Smitty's leg,
leg.
of the peg leg.
So you're thinking he might not have made it.
I don't think he.
See, now my personal opinion. Now I talked to Darcy. Darcy says no, that can't be. But in Cambria County,
nobody's ever been murdered in a prison before.
Well, not that. Yeah, there's been people that have been murdered in prison, but in Cambria County, it was said that you could get if you were a minor and you knew that, and if you worked in different companies, you could learn the paths of the mine, and you could go from the northern part of the county to the southern part of the county underground. And mine 33 is just outside of Evansburg, so I have a funny feeling there might be something that went through the center of the town. Up there where the
how do you get out
well,
of this cell?
that's what I'm thinking, is that somehow there's an extra
somebody-
exit that
What about collusion from inside? Somebody
I don't know.
somebody let him
this
out.
is back in the day.
Money's talked for a long time.
This is very true. That's why they think that he might have known something that they didn't want him to talk about
Okay.
before they got the noose around his neck.
Right. All right, I'm in. Let's go.
Yeah, like we've been talking about it for a while. Like we totally got to give it this place. And like I said, I've been in it before. I mean, obviously you've been in there now.
Yeah.
But when I went in there, like it was kind of everyone was like, "Ooh, I'm not going down there." I'm like, "Get out of the way,"
Yeah, I'll go down there.
because I don't buy into it. Like, and again, like I've had my own, even though I'm a harsh critic of the whole idea of it. Like I've had my own experiences and things, and where I without a doubt, like I've seen my grandmother. So like, there's got to be something to it, but at the same time, I'm the first like, get out of here. Let me go first. Let me get this thing all riled up for you.
I'm going back upstairs,
and then I'm gonna go outside and do whatever. Yeah, so like I totally want to get into that place and just rouse shit up.
Yeah, I'll talk to Darcy.
I mean, he can totally be there the whole time. He can.
Well, I think
he can let us in.
Oh, you lock us up and come
I
back
do a
next
whole
day?
come back in the morning. I do it.
Yeah,
I'm
I
in.
don't care.
Who's sleeping? Not me.
I'd do that.
I'm gonna be walking down every cell, clang.
We would have to do it near Halloween. I don't either, actually.
Yeah, I might.
When's the anniversary?
I don't know.
There look at you with the good ideas.
Yeah.
I have to look at the webpage and see if it's on there. Now, I think Darcy said
Hopefully
there
it's
were
soon.
13 or 14 people that were hung in that facility. So, I mean, they did carry out that sentence.
Yeah.
So, I mean, in theory, should be good energy, I guess.
So, speaking of good energy, we should wrap this thing up.
What have you been listening to this
What
week?
have you been? Let's throw it back to. I gotta get just a little.
Uzo?
Except for that one time.
Except for that one time where I forgot. Let's do the oldest segment on the show that harkens back to the very first pilot episode. What are you listening to this week? Instituted by our very own Michael Jacobino, who isn't here this evening, but I've already got his pick, and we're gonna go. Which now is also, I mean, it was always one of my favorite moments of the show, but since the addition of Al.
It's
my fault.
only become better.
And it's only become better with Al.
Everything's better.
So I
with
hope you
Al.
have a pick.
What?
You're ready. So let's totally do. We're gonna get in here. What are you listening to this week? Let's start with Jason.
From the album Fighting.
Fighting.
Yep, from the album Fighting.
Spell that.
Fighting.
Oh, okay.
Kung Fu.
No, I thought he was saying
Fighting. Actually, you can drop the G and put a little.
I thought he was doing some Gaelic stuff. I'm like
Fighting.
Fighting? Like what?
Well, speaking of Gaelic, I am doing the song Fighting My Way Back, just because it has been an earworm of mine for the last couple of weeks, and because my lovely daughter and my wife and my young son Roy and her fiance Weston had a total Tin Lizzy breakdown over Christmas holidays, and so thank you, Jamie Dick. I mean, we sat down, drank whiskey and Guinness and so on.
I remember the after day of that. He walked in. He's like, I said, "You look like you."
And I don't know. That song's been an earworm of mine. And so yeah, a little Tin Lizzy. Thank you, Jamie Dick, for donating some awesome vinyl. It has already been put to good use, and we had a hell of a good party with it. So I love vinyl parties.
Whoa.
Yeah, never.
Whoa. And midgets.
And
Ball
handcuffs
gag.
and what? What?
Montana. No. No.
Safe word.
No habla inglés. No habla inglés.
I'm bilingual. There's a difference.
You knew what I
No,
meant.
close the door.
So yeah, that's my pick.
Fantastic. Aislinn.
Well, I debated what I was going to say, but
And then I stole it.
yeah, I did. But actually, I'm going to be back just because it was a very special
Are we getting a twofer?
I think
We
are.
could get a two-foot
I think
if
we
you
are.
want.
And the one she's gonna pick, the only reason I didn't pick it is because I'm afraid I might have already done it. Try it. We'll see. Jay will tell us. I think I have.
Well-
Legend of the Black Rose. Yeah, you have done that.
That's why I
Alright.
didn't. That's why I didn't do it.
Because the only reason I remember that is because he goes.
You had to spell it.
Yeah, and then I had to spell it not once but twice because it's the name of the song and the name of the album. I was like,
the best album.
So you got an audible? You want us to skip you? Come back?
Yeah, come back.
All right. Aldo.
This could be the most valuable Ford Mustang in the world. Do you know what makes it so that valuable?
That Brian Fallon wrote a song about it?
It's now been mentioned on the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee.
Yes.
That's just it. This is the '68 GT that Steve McQueen drove
in Bullet.
Bullet.
Oh,
yes,
then
that is it right there.
Okay, yep.
Anybody want to guess what this could go for auction for?
$258,000.
They're expecting over 3.5 million
Times a few.
times a couple. Yes, and Brian Fallon is the reason. That, I mean, because you play that song.
You're gonna have to hold on. I don't know. That might already be on there. I'm gonna have to.
Didn't anybody die this week? You want to mention?
Well, no, but I mean, my song is James Gang Funk number 49. But,
Oh wow, James Gang.
but I knew that you liked that. That's a great song.
James Gang. What is it?
Number 49.
Funk 49.
But yeah, if you have an extra $4 million, you could possibly get that whenever it comes.
I'm telling you what, dude. If I had $4 million to blow,
Oh, really? Would you buy that?
I might, man. I'm a big Steve McQueen fan.
True. That is one of a kind because he actually did all the stunts in that.
Yes, he actually did.
Actually drove. They filmed him going over 100 miles an hour several scenes. Yeah. He did all the real stunts.
He was a man.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it.
I think I might, but try it.
You steal.
Which one?
Cowboy.
Do I have Cowboy song
Cowboy.
on there?
I don't know if that's on there. Hopefully that just didn't kill the show. I mean, it might. No, it still don't. Give me 1 second here and try to pull this up. I don't know if that's on there or not. While I'm searching, I'll give my pick here real fast. Again, like I spoke earlier before about the whole Russia thing.
Did we talk?
Yeah.
How come nobody brought that up? Damn.
I had a nightly ritual that I followed very strictly.
Every night.
Yeah, when I would lay down and that was it, I was going to sleep for the night. That was all that there was to it. I would put on the Spotify playlist of the show, and depending on how close we were, like this week we're doing set 1, I would start at the beginning of set 1, and when we were doing set 2, I listened to set 2, but I listened to that set list for so long, months. Like once we had the set list picked, well, not even months, a year. Like every day in my head was that stuff. And after it was over, like literally not that night, because my ears were ringing so bad, there was no me trying to understand anything by the time I got back to the house. But the very next night, like I got on the couch and I sat down and I went to lay back and I'm like, I don't know what to do.
I know.
So I did play the set list again several times because I just didn't know how to not fall asleep listening to the
There goes the podcast.
I don't see it.
Cowboy.
Nope, Cowboys Do More Dope is the only one, so that is available.
All right. So I give you 2
No.
What do you mean two?
3 songs?
No, just
one.
I meant two for is the fact that you're doing the same artist. Or are
Oh,
you?
good. Yeah, I am.
What
I'll
was
go
your
with
other
Thin Lizzy.
choice?
Huh?
Oh yeah.
A Greek. It was gotta be a Greek band.
Good.
Go Thin Lizzy.
What album? Was it? Okay.
Cowboy.
So I had to do something. Like I listened to it probably 1 or 2 nights afterward, but then I got to start listening. I got to break the chain. I've got to do something, and I kind of fell back into a band that I love anyway. I started swimming in a lot of the Devil Wears Prada
That's
again
cool.
because I had to go to something that was completely opposite
Totally different.
of where I was.
It was
Just
like ICP or Devil Wears Prada.
Zombie EP?
I love it all.
Oh.
But that's where I got I mean I jumped into the Devil Wears Prada because I'm older. Maybe tragically uncool with me to listen to such music still at this point. But
It's not.
Why would it
Um,
ever be? Why would it ever be?
but the Zombie EP was where I really like. I had heard a few of their songs before and was like, I don't get that guy at all. But I listened to the Zombie EP and I realized that if the zombie apocalypse ever happens and it doesn't sound like that, record, I'm pissed off.
They should just have it going through the speaker.
Yeah, it literally changed the way I thought about certain aspects of writing songs and things. Like this is really good. So I've been like just on random shuffle because I don't want to listen to any one thing too much.
Yeah.
Or I mean one album too much because I'll do that. Like I'll get stuck on that Zombie EP. I'll listen to it over and over and over again. So I've been hitting the whole playlist that they have of all their songs just on random. And I posted this a couple days ago on my Facebook page. I'm going to go with To the Key of Evergreen off of Transit Blues. I love the way that Mike, I'm going to say his last name, Herenica. He, the way he phrases his songs are so bizarre. Like the whole song in itself is about a cross country road trip with a loved one. But you listen to the song and you're like, this doesn't sound like a cross country
Like,
road trip with a loved one. Well, it's not even so much that. Like you're confused. Like if you read the lyrics, at face value for what it is, you're like, oh, okay, it's about a cross country trip. But then you listen to the way that it's phrased and how he
where he
enunciates,
stops and
how he screams some things and doesn't scream others, and like lets off. It's just like the way he phrases things just blows my mind a lot of the times because he does it all the time. And that's just one of the ones that really stuck out to me over the last week was. And I remember when I first got that record and was listening to it, that one bothered me a little bit. I'm like, that song's weird. I don't know why it's weird.
okay.
But as I kept listening to it, going, this is weird. I'm kind of like,
Do you think this is weird?
Like-
I think this is weird.
even with Josiah, he used to work here, a good buddy of mine. He's a huge The Devil Wears Prada fan, and he asked me a few times like, did you get that new record yet? I'm like, yeah, dude. He's like, what do you think about it? I'm like, it's great, but that one song's like weird. And he knew it. He went To the Key of Evergreen. I said yes, and he goes, I'm like, see, it's weird. So yeah, that's just one of those. I posted that. I'm like, yeah, that's probably gonna be my pick this week. I mean, again, shuffled on random. I've heard a lot of songs on repeat over the last several days, but when that one comes on, I kind of stop and like really, really listen to it. So
Tim High says the Soul the Toll by Soul. SAUL.
Saul.
hold on, say it again.
The Toll. TOLL. By Saul.
We could call it the Tall by Saul.
Soul.
SUL.
Tall by Saul.
The Toll.
SAUL.
Saul.
And Kevin Siegel says, this is what it is from Symbols album by Black Cat and Moan.
Oh yeah, going local.
Is that on Spotify, Kev?
This is local music.
You gotta be on Spotify, or else you give us an audible.
Well, if he doesn't respond. Kev, we're counting down.
It's a time delay. What was the song?
Yes, he says it is on Spotify. What it is.
What it
From the
is?
Symbols album.
That's a good album. I've listened to a bunch of the tracks on YouTube. They've done a few videos already. It's really good. So that's cool. Get some local boys on there. Absolutely. Love that.
Yeah, that's good.
All right. Well, I think that effectively puts a cork in this week's episode.
Fourth episode. I had to restart it 4 times.
Oh, that's true.
Well, if they want all the goods, they got to listen to
Well,
all
that's just it. I
platforms.
put the first one didn't have it. That said
Thanks
2,
for
3, 4.
scrambling around multi-platform.
Listen them out of order.
All right, for the first 20
Pretend it's
minutes,
a Quentin
we're on
Tarantino
YouTube.
episode.
then we're on Facebook, and then we're back to YouTube.
So, again, one more time, let's raise our glass here to Mikey and Shannon and the birth of their new boy, Nathan. We wish you were here, buddy, but we totally get it. Take all the time. Enjoy those first.
Enjoy those moments. They never happen again.
Yep.
Unless you have another kid.
Unless you have
Well,
another
yeah.
kid.
Then
And then
forget
it's
about
kind of
the
like,
first
oh,
one.
I got to do this again.
Yeah. Right. First time is special, and then after that, it's just drudgery, right? She did ride a very short bus.
Whether you have been here since day one or day 736,
Wow.
we've been doing this for a minute.
Wow.
Yep. It's not even a hot minute anymore. It's just a minute.
No, it's an old cold minute.
An oldie coldie. Thank you for tuning in. Like I said, hopefully we will get back to this on a more normal kind of schedule. We are looking forward to getting new content and everything.
Yeah.
So
we still got to do the black metal episode for crying out loud.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
he's like,
And
I forgot all about that. We gotta get
Hail
a little
Satan.
Scotty. Yeah,
we gotta hail Satan.
Yeah.
We got to hail Satan.
Yeah.
Yeah, we watched
We
the.
gotta get the goat in here.
Well, no guts. No.
Oh, dude, can we get a goat?
We can totally get it.
Do we know
No,
anyone
I know
with a goat?
No.
I know a guy.
You know a guy with a goat.
I know a guy who's got
No.
goats.
Can we go to the? We got to go to there and do an episode with a live goat,
Absolutely.
just because I want to see it like eat all the cables.
You ever see a goat? They
This
will.
could, this could
They
be
will.
I
potentially
think
be the
Canarsie
last.
said we could bring a goat in here.
I'm sure.
Did he
did.
really?
Yeah, I think he did.
Oh, Kevin Siegel goes, "Hell, Satan."
Hail Satan! God, that. Speaking of local boys, when Deviants was still a band, Jason and Chad Straw, there was a guy in the crowd all the time. You'd just be like, they'd be like, "This next song is Hail Satan!"
Yeah.
I forget what that dude's name was. God.
Bryce said it.
No, it was not Bryce, but a very similar individual.
That one Route 22. It's like, he made it through a whole set list, and I think he changed every lyric to every one of their songs to Hail Satan.
Hail Satan. It's fantastic. Are you done?
I'm done.
Good?
Yeah.
All right. On
Hey, I would like to make one more toast. I'm not done. I'd like to toast my beautiful daughter for joining us this
Yes,
evening.
thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oh,
we can make that happen. We know a guy. There we go.
Yamas.
All right. Yamas?
What a Deste Fideles? What the hell is it?
That's why they still.
Spit some more Gaelic at, or not Gaelic.
yes, I get
Some
Greek,
some Greek,
Grecian.
some Greece at us.
Some Grecian
Grecian.
formula.
Say it again. One more time.
Kenya,
Kanya Poli.
Whatever. Kenya.
Kenya,
Kenya.
Kenya,
Kenya
That's
pull it.
it.
Poli.
Can you pull it?
That's
Can you
it.
pull it?
Can you
Yep.
pull it?
Can you pull it?
Yeah.
All
Can
right.
you pull it?
That's on my pay slate. It's none of your damn business. With that, I am Jay.
I am Al.
I am Jason.
And I'm Aislinn.
We are the Wednesday Night Whiskey Committee. Please, for the love of God, listen responsibly.
Woohoo!
That's on there.
Yeah, I saw it. It's like, ah, click. I heard him click.
The woo.
Yeah, I heard him click.
Leave it. Leave it.
We need to. I need to somehow isolate that and make that a noise. We gotta get a website, and every
Yeah.
time you click a link,
Like the David Lee Roth sound page.
Yeah.
That was fun, guys.
yeah, that was fun. Now we get to do the after party for all the YouTube folks. Hi,
Bye.
you're still here. We're still here. Hold on. Save. Did you check your PCP filter?
PCP filters? What?
What?
I didn't know we had that filter.
Woo. He's gonna
Oh,
go home.
you're
It's
gonna.
gotta be-
You're gonna.
I'm just gonna
It's
You're
do
gonna be
gonna-
it.
his ringtone.
It is.
We're gonna hear that again.
Yes,
I
we are.
guarantee it.
Okay,
That's
I'll
very
delete
good.
that one more time. There's an owl in here.
He took
There's
it.
an owl in here. There's an owl in here.
Want me to
Cheap
put-
China L.
want me to put a bunch of delay on it?
Oh, geez.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Please. What? Don't delete it.
I did it.
It's
Delay
too late.
responsibly.
You deleted the woohoo?
Yeah, I did.
Why did you do that?
Because.
All right, I wanted it. That would
Uh-oh.
have been
Good night, all. And if I don't see you, safe journey.
See you,
All
brother.
right, thank you.
Export that.
What the hell is up with YouTube?
I don't know.
I think it's a Wi-Fi.
Wi-Fi here.
It's upstairs,
very
not downstairs.
It's
Right.
very spotty no matter where you are.
Well, we have those repeaters.
Yeah, well, let me tell you,
Really?
somebody who spends time in the basement here, they don't repeat very well.
But yeah, I do have full 5 bars.
So, what's that?
Episode.
60.
Episode.
Episode. Okay, so let's hit save. You can't save to this PC. Excuse me?
That's not a good thing.
That's not
Where
a
is
good
this
thing.
from?
Colorado. Oh yes. I'm going to be heading to Colorado. In
Oh, yeah.
February.
Oh, badass.
Yeah.
What part?
He wants to know where he can go find some T3s.
Yeah. No, it's a business trip. But,
T3s are big business. In
yeah,
Colorado.
are they?
Big business.
Big business.
Yeah, I'm going to be out there. I can't remember when it is. I think it's the second week.
Is it Denver? Is it Boulder?
Yeah, it's Denver. I have to look at
Are you flying in?
Yes.
Dude, the Denver airport is one of the most fucked up places you'll ever be in your life.
Really?
Yes.
We just lost our Denver sponsorship.
Oh, come on, Denver. Don't believe him.
First of all, when you fly in, on top of the Denver airport, it's a gigantic, gaunt, skeletal horse. It's like, it's not a healthy horse. Like the horse on top of Denver airport is like,
It's something they actually found.
no, it's a statue.
Yes, I know it's a statue, but it's like it.
But instead of making a statue of like a healthy horse, it's like this like demonic, withered, like skeletal gaunt horse. Like you're like, what the fuck is that?
Awesome.
And then you go in there, there's all kinds of weird fucking like murals with like weird people in gas masks holding AK-47s at children and like
And
weird,
children.
yes, and like yeah, I'm not fucking yeah. I'm like totally not kidding.
You didn't take some picture there. That's my new background.
It is. It
Well,
is.
I was just hoping for a good whiskey bar or something.
There are good whiskey. Colorado, I had some of the best whiskey I've ever had in my life. At some of the
Bet you're
bars.
gonna find a bunch of good stuff.
Yeah, I bet
You think?
are. Yeah.
Hey, you want to say good night to the live crew?
No.
Good night, Two Live Crew.
Bye.
Bye.
Good night.
Thanks for coming. These are my jazz fingers. Look at my jazz hands. Bye.
They changed it a little bit, I think. But like, here's the